Hi everyone. It has been 6 weeks or more since I last posted a video to the Life at Bookends Farm YouTube series, and the scenery has changed a lot. This was the scenery in April. This was the scenery on May 15th. But with June, we finally have green grass, sunshine, and warm temperatures. Before I do any more videos on specific training, I wanted to share a little bit about how we use pasture in what seems like the far too few months that we have it. Through raising beef and sheep, my husband became a proponent of rotational grazing many years ago. The science behind pasture management, like all sciences, is continuing to teach us better ways of doing things, and in this case, working with the land. Please do your own research and speak to your veterinarian about this. Do not follow my plan, as I am experimenting carefully. I've had great success so far, but I am only one individual. I have struggled at times over the years because managing horses is different from livestock, which doesn't necessarily need to be brought to the barn on a daily basis. I have experimented with different setups and will continue to do so as the science and need change. The purpose of rotational grazing is to manage with a focus toward keeping both the land and the animals healthy. This is another place there's a marked difference between beef or sheep and horses. Beef and sheep not only tolerate rich grass, but thrive on it. For horses, the richness can be deadly in the form of obesity, related metabolic disorders, and laminitis. Instead of turning out on grass, which is in its peak growth stages, I wait until grasses are mature, which does mean that my horses have to wait longer in the spring to be turned out on grass than the other animals do. This is a map of my current layout of paddocks. Having 12 paddocks and using them for 3 to 5 days each means I can go 36 to 60 days before turning horses back into a paddock which has already been grazed. That means 36 to 60 days of rest and regrowth with no grazing and no trampling. It's time for grasses to regrow and become mature, so I am never turning horses into rapidly growing high sugar growth. When it's this tall, they don't graze it down like lawn, but instead take the tops off, pick through it, and leave plenty of seed heads to shatter and germinate. You do still find some parts that have been overly grazed. There's one pony who loves to get right down to the base and eat it short. When I see that, I've waited too long to move them. I have a couple different alleys in order to get the horses out to their paddocks. Depending on which metal gate I open, I can allow them to have access to different paddocks through the rotation. Once in the alley, I use the rope fence to open specific paddocks. When they are through with that one, I close it up and open the next one. The alley which gets the most use does get worn down, both by grazing and by traffic. It only gets a week or two of rest because it leads to most of the paddocks. The shorter alley is only used for that week or two, and it recovers well. Another important piece of this program is what we call the sacrifice paddock, or others call it a dry lot. We sacrifice the grass in that area in order to keep the rest of the farm healthy. The sacrifice paddock is where the horses are when I want them to be able to be out but not on grass. It's where they wait impatiently for grass to be ready in the spring. It's where I feed hay in the winter, and it's also where they go for water or shade by using the alley back in from their paddock. In addition to keeping the land healthy by not overgrazing, and the horses healthy by feeding them as Mother Nature intended, rotational grazing offers some enrichment. The horses get lots of different natural plants to eat at different grazing heights, and getting to find their way to a new paddock every couple days with a slightly different environment adds novelty to their days. The paddocks are big enough for them all to go out together, and it's important to have alleys wide enough to prevent crowding. Horses are social animals who do well in groups, providing there are sufficient resources. Plenty of space and grass is important. To learn more about rotational grazing, agricultural extension may be a good resource, but make sure whatever research you do takes the equine digestive system and other needs into account. And finally, don't ever take the advice of someone on the internet, including me, over your horse's veterinarian. If you appreciated this video, please hit that like button, click on subscribe, and also click on the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. And leave us a comment.